Hi, this is April. Welcome back to my channel. Ever since I discovered the world of photography and videography, I have consumed so many videos from creators who go on these epic trips to landmarks around the world, and they get such gorgeous photos and video.
Travel gone wrong.
We will be photographing 10 of the most popular spots for cherry blossoms in Tokyo.
And sometimes I admit I feel a little bit jealous. As someone who is legally blind and recently unemployed, I find that my funds for traveling are rather limited, and sometimes getting to the local metro park can even be a hassle. So the other day I was stuck at home and feeling a little bored, and I remembered watching someone take some footage of a spider in their backyard. And I decided to dust off my old Sony 90mm macro lens and go out into the backyard and see if I could find anything. I decided to try to take some macro photographs of flowers that might be blooming in the backyard, because someone with limited vision, it's hard to see insects crawling around even if you get close up. And as I was looking through the garden bed, I happened to notice a red dot on a green leaf. And it looked a little bit unusual. It stood out because it was such a contrast. And I took the 90mm lens, and as I got it into focus close up, I discovered it was a ladybug. And I have never really gotten to get a nice close-up photo of a ladybug. As someone who is rather a novice when it comes to macro photography, I often have a hard time getting the full subject in focus. So I started out with a shutter speed of 1/500 because it was a little bit breezy, and I wanted to try to make sure that I got everything in good focus. And so I had opened my aperture to f2.8 to start out with, but I discovered that only part of the ladybug was in focus. So I slowly closed down the aperture until I got to about f10, which finally seemed to get everything in focus. I was using the Sony A7 IV, and I decided to take a little bit of slow motion footage as well. And I decided to do the 60 frames per second in 4K, which is in APS-C mode, which I figured that might be a bit of an advantage because it is cropped in. So after I took a few photos and some video, I went right back inside the house just to check everything and see if I was on the right track, because the monitor on the camera itself gives you very limited view of what's going on. Things can be just slightly out of focus and I won't notice it. So to my delight, I was on the right track. Things were pretty well in focus, and the video was extremely interesting. But the only problem is there was some sensor dust, and it was really bumming me out because it's hard for me to remove dust in DaVinci Resolve, even with the object removal. And as you'll see, some of the footage was a little bit noisy. So then I remembered on the Sony ZV1 that it has an actual insect detection mode in photos and video. And I decided to try that out. Plus, I could film in 4K 120 frames per second. So I went back outside, and the ladybug was still on the same leaf, but this time I got some footage showing the little tentacles, and I noticed that the footage was a little bit less noisy, and the 120 frames per second really slowed it down so I could see all the movements just the way I wanted to. And I had decided to take a few photos thinking, well, with the 12 megapixels, they're not going to turn out very good. They won't have the same detail that the Sony A7 IV had. But to my surprise, these photos don't seem to lack any detail, and they were a lot less noisy. So if you ever find yourself stuck at home and you find that your scope for imagination of subjects to photograph and film is a little limited, maybe consider getting a macro lens. You can head out in the backyard and you can photograph and film insects, flowers, and even ordinary objects around the house can turn into an exotic subject matter. It's really remarkable how limitless your subject matter is just around the house. And if you are someone with low vision, I would really recommend taking up photography. Even if you can't quite see the settings on the camera, you can always try to use magnification and really learn your settings. I would recommend reading a book like Stunning Digital Photography by Tony Northrup so you can really learn your camera, and you can even dial in your settings before you go out. That's what I do because I can't really see the screen out in the bright sunlight so well. And what's really exciting is those things that you really can't see out and about in real time, you can photograph them with either a macro lens or a telephoto lens and then bring them home, and on your computer screen you can zoom in and really learn about the world around you. It's been phenomenal for me, and it really has helped with any sort of depression. If you like this video, give it a like. Consider subscribing for more photography related content from a newbie like me. God bless.